Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you guys another episode of my complete Cardfight Vanguard collection sets. Today for the booster sets, we will be going through booster sets 5 through 7, which are Awakening of the Twin Blades, Breaker of Limits, and Rampage of the Beast King. All three are pretty big and popular sets, with sets 6 and 7 introducing the limit break abilities to the game. So I was decided to go with a binder an episode, basically going through all the sets that are in each one. And the sets actually got larger with Breaker of Limits and Rampage of the Beast King, meaning I can only fit 3 sets into one binder. So let's go ahead and begin. We will be starting off with Awakening of the Twin Blades. Now this was kind of like the finale set for the first season of Cardfight Vanguard. With it, they introduced cross rides, which were given to us in the form of Dragonic Overlord, the End, and Phantom Blaster Overlord. We also received a kind of a, like cross ride, sort of Shadow Paladin, Royal Paladin, Twilight mix for Royal Paladins in the form of Majesty Lord Blaster. And they also, this set introduced to us Neo Nectar and Murakumo. This was the first main booster set that gave us support for Murakumo and Neo Nectar. And both were given enough support to make complete decks to run. This is the first time also that we didn't kind of get like a sneak into the clan itself with like 4 cards and a booster set beforehand. We got everything in one set. We also got the final kind of avatar cards for Tetsu and Asuka in this set in the form of Mistress Hurricane and also Beelzebub. And a little bit more support as well for the Dimension Police deck also. And we also got, mostly those were the highlight cards. We received some smaller support as well, including Perfect Guards for Neo Nectar and Murakumo. Also received some double rare support for the Blaster support for Royal Paladins, some support including the Counterblast 2 for Shadow Paladins, and the 12k Attacker for having a Blaster Vanguard, which they kind of mixed back and forth between Shadow Paladins and Royals with these 2 cards, but obviously they were, only to be used with their respected clans. We also had some support for Oracle Think Tank and Nova Grappler in the form of Street Bouncer and Evil Eye Princess Uriel. Other than that, most of the focus of the set was put towards either the Cross Rides and the Kagero, Shadow Paladin, and Royal Paladin support, but the big sets that received support to complete the decks were Neo Nectar and Murakumo, with Neo Nectar having 6 rares in total in the set, and Murakumo having up to 8 rares in total, which is quite insane for a big amount. And they focused on the Mandala Lord and the basically the Maiden cards in total with the set. Other cards we received were Mega Blast for Shadow Paladin, search cards for Phantom Blaster Overlord, and Dragonic Overlord the End. Also the set that introduced Burning Horn Dragon into the game, the 12k for Overlords. A bunch of other mixed support as well for Dimension Police and Dark Irregular as well. As we move on to the commons, you can see we got a good amount of support of some generic cards, including a Special Intercepts and a Superior Call from the top of the deck for cards like Neo Nectar. And Neo Nectar and Murakumo also received 1 of each trigger with this booster set. So 1 crit, 1 draw, 1 heal, and 1 stand for both of them, with each of them receiving the effect stand trigger for plus 3,000 and countercharge abilities. Neo Nectar and Murakumo also received cards like Lake Maiden Lian and also Little Sage Marin, 8Ks and Rest Draw cards themselves as well in the set. For the other cards, we also received additional triggers that kind of finalized support for some of the old decks in the game, including Silent Sage Sharon and Effect Stand for Royal Paladins, another critical for Shadow Paladins as well. Same with Oracle Think Tank, which I believe this was the 3rd critical trigger for Oracle Think Tank, meaning you could run 3 criticals for a 12 critical Oracle Think Tank deck if you wished. Also, effect triggers for Dimension Police, Dark Irregulars, and also Pale Moon as well. And plus introduced more support for them in the forms of the Soul Charge 2 guard grade 2s. But what was big about this set for Dark Irregulars and Pale Moon is that it gave us the first draw trigger for Dark Irregulars and the first stand trigger for Pale Moon. And that basically wraps up Awakening of the Twin Blade. Moving on to the Breaker of Limits set. This was not actually released in chronological order when we got it in English. This actually came out in the order of set 1, set 2, and then set 6. So we actually got Limit Break a little earlier than we did some of the other sets. But I like to go in the order of the numbers, just like how they came out originally. So moving on now, Breaker of Limits. This was a very large set, and they actually stopped supporting Kagero, Royal Paladin, and Shadow Paladin after these sets were out. Mostly because they focused on the 2 new clans that they introduced, which were Gold Paladin and Narukami. Each one kind of meant to replace Kagero and Shadow Paladin and Royal Paladins. It also introduced the Angel Feather clan into the game, which was heavily supported in this set. For triples, we were given Circular Saw Kiriel and Battle Cupid Nochiel. And for Grand Blue, we were also given some Limit Break cards as well. The main focus for the Limit Break in this set was Angel Feather, Gold Paladin, and Narukami, with Nova Grappler receiving some support in the set, but no Limit Break support will be given to it until later down the road in set 9. We also were given a Ride Chain for Angel Feather, and also the Perfect Guard support, as well as some other grade 2 holo support. So it had some of the biggest holo ratios for any other clan in this set compared. We also had some more grade 3 support for options with Grand Blue. We had new Mega Blast in the form for Gold Paladin, Perfect Guards for Gold Paladin, Angel Feather, and Narukami as well. For rares, we were given 6 rares in total, including 10k attacker, Ride Chain, and even a Mega Blast for Angel Feather. Grand Blue was given some rare support as well, meant to support their own Limit Break card, as well as some counter charge abilities. Same for Gold Paladin, 10Ks for the Gold Paladin, and the Narukami as well, both which were released in the structure deck that came out around the same time as these cards. Cards also meant to focus a lot of support to support the main grade 3s of both decks, which were Blonde Ezel and Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion. But a lot of cards also went towards the Angel Feather in this set, mostly because a lot of the triggers were available to Narukami and Gold Paladin through the trial decks that you were meant to bought. So this was the actual biggest set that was released so far that gave a big amount of triggers for one clan as a whole, with Angel Feather getting 2 stands, 2 criticals, 1 draw, and 1 heal for the whole set, meaning you could mix and match more with this clan than you could have in any other previous sets with any clans, including Nova Grappler and Oracle Think Tank, since they were released in Booster Set 1 and were only given 4 triggers each. As well, for Grand Blue, we were given 3 new triggers, including new heal trigger, new critical, and draw, as well as an immense amount of other support, including grade 3 search power, and also additional send to the drop zone support, as well as a mismatch of other abilities as well. Many that were shared with the other clans as well, including grade 3 12k attackers, boosted plus 2000 attackers, you name it. As for the other triggers, Narukami and Gold Paladin mostly received their trigger support in the form of an effect critical, which both of them received, and a stand trigger that was generic. But they also both received the check top 5, search for a grade 3 starter, which was the trend started in this set for starters to be used. Other than that, Nova Grappler also received another effect stand in the form of Turbo Riser, which I believe Turbo Riser came out in the form of a promo beforehand, and it was officially reprinted in this set. And then moving on to the final set of this binder is Rampage of the Beast King, another very big set. And this one focused mainly on Great Nature, Pale Moon, Dark Irregular, Oracle Think Tank, and Gold Paladin and Angel Feather support. Now the biggest one, if the name didn't give it away, was Great Nature, which had 3 triple rares in total in this set, including a wide variety of options for basically decks to be built. You could have focused on the Leopold build, or you could have focused on the Guardian of Truth Locks Ride Chain, both which made use of all the other support, including the grade 2 hollows we received, and grade 1 and Perfect Guard, of course. And this was also the first set that introduced Limit Break to Dark Irregulars and Pale Moon, as you can see, in the form of Dark Lord of Abyss and Silverthorn Dragon Tamer Luquier. And also we received support for the Soulless Coco deck in the form of Emerald Witch Lala and a couple other cards as well in the booster pack. We also received support in the form of Pelennor, Limit Break for Gold Paladin, Chief Nurse Shamshell for Angel Feather, School Dominator app, which was backup grade 3 support for Great Nature, Camel Lamp, this Counterblast 2, Draw, Monoculus, the mini version of Monoculus, and Cable Sheep, the only Perfect Guard in the set, but introduced for Great Nature, which hadn't received support in any other set since GA, which was Onslaught of the Dragon Soul, which is kind of a big amount of sets away. Also, we received a good amount of hollow support for Dark Irregulars and Pale Moon in this set, including 4 hollows for Pale Moon and also 3 hollows for Dark Irregular, and 1 new double rare for Gold Paladin, including the Dindran, which was the Soul Blast draw when called from the deck. As for other cards, we also received plenty of rares for the Great Nature deck, 8 in total, including the Hamsuke support, and also a wide variety of grade 1s to use as well. They basically did the same thing as they did in the set for Angel Feather, with this set giving us plenty to work with to mix match different decks. Same goes for Dark Irregulars and Pale Moon, which also received their 12k attackers and other support that was made specifically for how the decks were run. With these, you were also able to, more mix match those 2 decks as well, since we were only given about 5 triggers each for both of those until this set was released. Also, Little Witch Lulu, which helped with the Soulless Coco deck. The Bunny support is what they called it for the Gold Paladin decks, with the Call from the top of the deck at rest abilities. Plenty of Great Nature commons, you name it. They had the Counterblast plus 1000, Damage Enabler, grade 2s, which made Limit Break stronger, Ride Chain for locks, grade 3 backups you could run, and also plenty of triggers. Same as Angel Feather, 6 triggers in total, 1 heal, 1 draw, 2 criticals, 2 stands. The same ratios given for the mix and match, basically. Also starters for both of the decks, depending if you wanted to build, it was Leopold and Locks. For the commons for the other ones, the same support was provided for Pale Moon and Dark Irregulars, and each were given 4 new triggers for a good variety of cards you can use with each deck, including grade 3 searchers as well for both, and unique starters. Because up until this set, Pale Moon and Dark Irregulars didn't have starters that were forerunners. They both had starters that moved from the soul. But they also received effects in the forms of criticals, including Dark Knight, and also Poison Juggler. And Angel Feather and Gold Paladins and OTT also received support in the same form, with also some other unique cards as well. Grade 3 Searchers, Limit Break damage effects, you name it. But that is the end of these 3 sets of BT05, 6, and 7. I hope you all enjoyed the video. In our next binder, we will be looking at sets 8, 9, and 10, which also start the beginning of the break ride format with set 10. So definitely look forward to it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Once again, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, Kira Qualia out.